I know I got the old truck there, but I had another one catch my eye.
I can't hear you.
Let me show you. Right?
That's the one. No, that's not terrible.
It's very small. It's only two seats.
That's pretty cool, though.
But that'd be kind of fun if it's not raining. Alright. Hey, welcome to the Closing Beat, everybody. Happy Monday. How you doing? Good? Everybody's having a good day? This is our quick show that we're doing on our temporary studios here at Jazz Wealth, because we just moved into a new place, and so every day I'm putting up something that somebody maybe sent us along the way or came by and gave us, and we're going to have a whole wall over there. Actually, let me show you here. That is kind of the progress that we're making on one of the sets there, and off to the right a little bit, there's going to be a whole wall where we're going to just kind of hang stuff that people have sent in or given us over time there. And so for now, you know, it's a temporary set, but you can see it all starting to come together. And that's just one side of it, by the way. There is all this over here. So much more to go there, and we're just building away every moment we get. But speaking of building, the market's building onto its gains. Huh? No big deal. All bad news, all news is good news, and everything is great out there as far as the market's concerned. We're going to go over a little bit of that this week in our Wine and Wealth class. Every Thursday I do a class for clients. Last Wednesday we did variable retirement withdrawal strategies using Nest Egg. Awesome. Got a lot of cool emails there, so I know people are paying attention. This week, which will also be available for research members if you're interested, we're going to be doing the odds of profitability given any time period that you're looking at. So we're going to study the entire depth of the market, all the way to 1928, looking at the S&P 500. And I'm going to say, well, if you decide you're going to invest savings money for 2 years, what's the probability that you have a profit? Are you okay with that? If you decide you're going to invest for a new car every 5 years, and well, what's the probability that you're going to have an actual gain after 5 years versus being in the hole? So this Thursday, we're going to do that. That'll be available for research members as well as clients here at Jazz. Our weekly email, Notes from Jazz, just a little homework here to share with you. We did stats on September returns, and we compared that to something like a December, just to get your mind right, wrapped around September and what typically happens there. Looked at all the history of that one. Our research site we did, if you're one of our research members, we've done, we talked about Kroger and overextension there. We did utility stocks. I tried to make a boring thing kind of interesting and show you what those guys are doing. Huge changes there and a list of stocks for you to look at. And then you might want to see last Thursday's closing beat there for sharing a study of performance there, something you may want to look at there. Anyways, let's go over to the markets here today. You can see they're a bit scattered, but sitting at new highs there. The S&P is up over 20% year to date, but that's not good enough for first place anymore. The NASDAQ has officially taken over first place there year to date in terms of total returns. Today was interesting because the tech names that have not been working together all of a sudden came and worked together. You got Apple. I'm not going to type these a bunch of times here, but Apple, Amazon had a great day. Microsoft participating right along there. Facebook, to new highs, actually. You got Tesla also having a good day. Nice little slow uptrend. I like that it's moving slow like that. And I'll even give PayPal an honorable mention there. Good day for them as well. So you have these tech stocks here that are all helping. And if you just took those first 6 names, that would have been enough to give the market the 0.5% return that it had. If every other stock was quiet and didn't do anything for today, and those 6 stocks still did exactly what they did, the market would be up just as much. So finally, you're actually getting something in terms of all of them participating, whether you like it or not. Microsoft actually had some bad news there in their Azure section, the division of their business, like 35-40% of their business now. Huge vulnerability there, changing access keys now required for everybody, and it didn't matter. The stock's still high there. On the downside in the S&P, I want to point out banks. You got Capital One, there you go. Capital One with a rough day here. It was one of the most overbought sectors now, so the fact that it's pulling back should not come as a surprise. Discover down 5% on the day. Wells Fargo, you name it. Financials took a bit of a hit today. Also, airlines. We'll use jets to show the airlines as a whole, so I don't have to type them all out. Those were all weak on the day. Cruise lines weak on the day. Retail weak on the day. Oil weak on the day. Or energy stocks in general, oil stocks. So you get where I'm coming from here, right? All the action was over here. It is 6 stocks. If you didn't have one of those, then you got left in the dust, so to speak, for the day. If we go back over to the NASDAQ, that was your leader here today, and now the leader year to date. 1.16% gain on the day for NASDAQ futures there. Takes the top spot. Can you guess why it took the top spot today and was the best performing index today? Those stocks. Apple, Tesla, Amazon, Microsoft, right? Those are the stocks that help lift the NASDAQ today. So if you have the NASDAQ or you're invested in that, you now have the first place index for the year as we stand. Hey, the Dow came in third place here today. A little bit of weakness overall. And that's basically thanks to the banks and Boeing. If you look at Goldman Sachs, bit of a pullback there. American Express, tiny little pullback. Well, 2.6% pullback, but after the run these things have had, kind of a tiny pullback. And then you got Boeing also pulling back there. Not a good pattern in the ultra short term there if you're looking at it. Again, banks were the most overbought sector out of the group, so they're just pulling back here. Not a big deal. And actually, if you're playing our game, Guess the Dow, I believe we have a winner here to talk about today. Let's see how that's going.
Yep, we got our winner to announce this week. Your winner last week was Mr. Mark Blosser with a guess of $35,451. He is not a client, so he'll be taking the $100 gift card. Remember, if you want to play, it's jazzwealth.com/guess the Dow. Congratulations to him. We got a new leaderboard, or we got a fresh leaderboard for today. We got Carol, Jay, Silk, Tate, and Joseph. Those are your top 5 to start off the week.
Nice. Nice. Fresh bit of names there, right? A little bit of a fresh leaderboard. I like that. Nice. All right. Well, that is the Guess the Dow. I hope you're playing there. Speaking of nothing that has to do with that, August. A bit of a rough month, right? For airlines. I want to show you something here real quick. Here is the traveler throughput through TSA. You go to the airport, you get your bag scanned, and you hold your hands up, and the thing goes around you. Look what's happening. Through the month of August, we hit a high, and we pulled back all through the month of August. Not a good month in terms of people going out there and traveling. Now, you have COVID, of course. You got people going back to work. You got people going back to school and all that stuff. So that kind of weighed on the screenings as a seasonal kind of a thing there. And I would just say before this becomes a headline, this is kind of just seen as a modest pullback, seasonal, if you will, there. And what I want to point out is airlines seem to not really care. I'm going to share with you the, let me see if I can pop over there. Yeah, here's the airlines year-to-date performance, but I'm only showing, trying to highlight August. So there's a little bit of July and June in there as well. You can see the best in terms of performance of the majors, most of the majors. You got American Airlines holding up the best. And look at August. We've got August right here. A little pullback, but not a big deal, right? Airlines basically were able to hold that off. The worst performer there, by the way, is Delta Airlines in terms of year-to-date. Did go negative year-to-date and then turn back positive. Same thing here if we're looking down at JetBlue. Every other airline just managed to pull back and gave a little late-month rally there. So here's what I would think. Any peak in cases would set the tone for airlines, right? Because now we have essentially going into the holiday season. Well, we will be, right? So now if we could just show a peak in cases, we'll have deaths lag behind that, hospitalizations, of course. But if there's any little peak in cases, that's a recipe for those guys to come bouncing off of their August pullback, which really was June, July, and August pullback, if you look at some of these airlines and how much they have pulling back there. All right, so that's that. Let's go to the sector breakdown here for the day. Financials, you already heard it. Weakest sector of the day there, but was the most overbought of all the sectors in general, so we're not complaining there. If you like to play those overbought stocks there to the downside, a little counter trend action, the most overbought stocks were Cincinnati Financial and Travelers, right, which are already starting to pull back there. Most oversold at the moment, I believe, is CME Group. It is, actually. So that's for financials there. Energy pulling back here today, but after a nice run. In fact, if you were to look at oil, you got oil pulling back. Well, it did finish positive, but throughout the day, it did pull back. Look at the amazing run, over 5% in less than 5 days there. Oil is starting a bit of a new trend here. There are 11 times since 1985 that oil has fallen for 5 straight days in a row, only to then recover itself 5% or more. Sadly, if we were to study the forward performance of that, it's quite positive there. Average gain or median gain 16%, and it's positive over 62% of the time. I do want to show that here because what we did is we looked back to see when that happened. What was the forward 3-month performance? In other words, we don't care about the next day or next week or whatever, but we're kind of investors here. We want to know, let's check 3 months out and see, would it have been worthwhile to participate in something like that? Here's actually every time it happened since 1986, January 1986 there. And like I said, sadly, the performance is good. I say sadly because it means oil prices, they go higher 75% of the time there. I'm sorry, 62.5% of the time there. Median gain of 16%. If you're investing in that, in oil, then it's a good thing. If you have to buy gas and that's your thing, it's not such a good thing. But it does translate into energy as well. So if you say, well, I don't know how to play oil, I don't want to play oil. If you look at the energy sector and you take those same stats there, it is higher 75% of the time 3 months later. The median gain is just over 8% actually. So the fact that oil sold off 5 straight days in a row and then bounced 5%, that's the criteria you're looking for, presents a median return in the energy sector, 75% of the time, 8.3%. So something to take a look at there. Just looking at different things. You know what I do. Come on. 74 new highs today. No new lows, actually. 9 sectors were represented on the new highs and new highs list, actually, today. Let's look at Teledyne here first. There's actually a lot of them that are either breaking out or hinting at a breakout. See what I'm looking at there? You got just a clean little consolidation right at highs, nice and strong, so that's one for the list. Broadcom did break out, so that was the other day, but today continuing that breakout pretty much. You could see it. I'm leaving my line here so you can just kind of see the area, the ceiling that it's had some trouble with, and today breaking over that, which Apple did as well. Apparently Apple... you're going to be able to possibly on the iPhone 13, you're going to be able to connect through satellite, not just through your 4G, 5G, whatever you're working with there. So a breakout there on some of that news there. Fastenal also kind of hinting at a breakout. Not my favorite, but just as I was working through the list. And A.O. Smith, there you go. Consolidation. If you're looking for a reason to add to a position, scale into a position, maybe you're right around that spot. Something to look at there. I went briefly through that, but there were a lot of new highs today. And be careful on the new highs list now. You have some stocks peeling away. So they may be, in chase mode where you kind of feel a little bit silly buying stocks so high. Stocks in the news here today. We're going to go with a firm. There we go. My gosh. One of the bigger movers here today, 50% gain on the day. Going to be working with Amazon. And... well, that's the news, right? Buy now, pay later. I think it was things over $50. Amazon said they'll let you make payments on. Tesla's had a bit of an issue with the parked in here in Orlando. A car on autopilot hit a parked car and crashed. I don't know that that's exactly what happened. That was the headline that was reported there. So didn't matter. Stock's a little bit higher on the day as they're working through all of that stuff. H.B. Fuller. Think of these guys as like, these guys are like the adhesive on the back of envelopes. You ever notice that? Like the envelope maker uses their chemicals and their adhesives to stick on the back of an envelope. They also use them for tape. They also use these guys for medical equipment in terms of adhesives that are needed for that. It could be the adhesive stitching and stuff. This is the company that does that there. They're also into industrial products. You got epoxies and things like that. So if you're not familiar with who these guys are, they touch a little bit of everything. Roofing, if you're looking at some of the adhesives that go on the back of tiles, if you're looking at air condition, the tape that goes around the ductwork, if you're familiar with repairing an AC, think of these guys for that. So that they're the adhesive kings out there. They said, we're just going to put an 11% surcharge on all of our products starting tomorrow. No, September 1st. Wow. We talk about inflation. That's impressive. That passes down to all of us that are using adhesives for different reasons. So I thought that was worth mentioning. Robinhood down about 7% here on the day. This is kind of a no-brainer here. The SEC chairman said, hey, you know that payment for order flow thing that Robinhood was most publicly criticized for, although lots of companies do it? That is on the table in terms of regulation. Not getting rid of it. I think investors responded to, oh my God, if the SEC says you can't do that, that is Robinhood's business model. No. The SEC is basically going to, it sounds like, they're going to step in and say, look, if you're going to do this, Virtu Financial, a lot of people deal with them, Susquehanna and things like that. They basically said, look, if you're going to do this, we're just going to start tightening the noose on how you go about doing this. There is no way that they go in there and say, you're not allowed to have payment for order flow. That puts a lot of people out of business. It puts a lot of the middlemen out of business, not the middlemen, the people that pay for the order flow, like Virtu, which I think you probably saw them lower as well. You did. So that's what happened there, and a little bit of weakness on that one. I think it was a bit of an overreaction. BlackRock also, they started selling their mutual funds, their mutual funds in China. Not a white label branded mutual fund, but BlackRock's actual mutual fund. China gave them the okay, and it's officially started there. Huge market in China. However, China says, we'll be watching, and they're not joking, right? China's going through a remodel, if you will. I think they came out today too, and China said, video games, we're only going to allow you to play video games 3 hours a week. And they can enforce that there. Yeah, video gaming for minors limited to 3 hours a week. You imagine the riots we would have over here with these kids, like throwing fit, not even kids. I mean, grown adults are out there competing in games, which look fascinating, but I never got into that myself. Hey, I'll let the stream catch up a little bit. I'll take your questions. Let's see what we can do here. A couple other things to point out. H&R Block with earnings tomorrow, and PVH. That's your Calvin Klein, etc. And I think that's really it. Lockheed Martin paying out at $2.60. Goldman Sachs, $2 in terms of dividends here. McDonald's, $1.29. And Kellogg's, 58 cents. Yeah. Hey, doesn't everyone that offer free trade sell order flow? Yep, pretty much. Pretty much. There are ways to keep like fractional shares in-house and stuff. I mean, they all do that, but yeah. So that's how you know. Number one, is how you know they're not going to do anything severe when it comes to that. Also, it would just mean that brokerage firms would say, all right, we're going to charge $5 a trade or whatever it is. That ain't happening. We're not going backwards now. But it's a new SEC president or chairman there, so he's got to make his stamp somewhere. He's got to find something to be known for, I think. And I'm not saying anything bad about those people. They've been good to us, so just keep it that way. Why is EDU going back up? Well, it could be the idea of the gaming, right? So this is their chance to get a little bit of a rally. Now they have decimated that education space over there. So this doesn't mean it goes back to $20, but there's probably a few people out there that said, if minors are only going to be able to play games 3 hours a week, they're going to have to do something. The parents are going to want them to go do something educational, probably. Maybe that's a place for them, or maybe, I don't know. Yeah. I love it. What do you mean? Anything on DBI? What's the question there? So you broke an uptrend or broke a downtrend, sorry. Off the 200-day. Looks like it's moving in your favor. Kind of in hold mode there, huh? Nancy Reagan. Data on oil stocks after a big hurricane. Probably. They were, I'll give it to them, everybody that was in the Gulf this time, they were way ahead getting everybody evacuated and shutting all of that down. So... but yeah, probably. I'll look around, see what I can pull up through the magic that we have here. Yeah. Dr. Horton's got some WSM, do you now? I don't know what's the deal with that. I mean, earnings were great. I'm not going to discount that, but I don't get that store. The stock is doing great. I hope it continues to do well for you, but you guys shop there? Am I cheap? Oh, boy. All right, I will wrap it up there, and appreciate you guys watching here for the day. We're going to continue building out our studio there. It looks pretty good. What do you think? I mean, it's in the works. We got a lot of lighting to do still and find details, a lot of details, but yeah, we're working on it, you know. We'll get it there. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for watching, and see you tomorrow. Yeah.